You know, it's been said that the love of money is the root of all evil. Well, I've discovered another human trait that may be even more destructive than the love of money. Stick around as I identify this dangerous trait and offer up a bit of wisdom to counter this trait found within most human beings.
We're only here a short time, so lay your life on the line. Living on borrowed time. Living on borrowed time.
Welcome to the Lion Zone. I'm your host and teacher, Steve Johan. If you like what I'm doing, make sure to hit the bell, subscribe, and like my channel. So, just what is more destructive than the love of money? This may surprise you, but it's the old trait of being stupid. Yep, good old stupidity. Think about it for a moment. If the masses weren't so stupid, the scamdemic would never have been able to be pulled off. Hitler would never have ascended to leadership, and nor Joe Biden for that matter. You see, stupidity is why so many people believe the nightly news and go along with senseless agendas put out by a handful of evil men in the guise of keeping us safe. The stupid among us have done more harm to this world than all the evildoers at the top of the pyramid ever thought to do. Why? Because stupid people follow evil orders without question. They enforce evil in the name of loyalty, honor, and political correctness and virtual signaling. The problem of stupidity goes way back to the beginning of the human race, when Eve trusted Satan's lies and ate the fruit, then handed it to Adam, who joined her in disobeying God, thus setting up the human race to fall for one lie after another. Speaking of Adam, let's take a peek at what Scripture has to say about being foolish. Even as fools walk along the road, they lack sense and show everyone how stupid they are. Ecclesiastes 10:3. With this in mind, I wish to share some sage advice from a wise man by the name of Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who, while looking at his native country, Germany, during the rise of Hitler, penned the following words: Stupidity is a more dangerous enemy of the good than malice. One may protest against evil. It can be exposed and, if need be, prevented by use of force. Evil always carries within itself the germ of its own subversion, in that it leaves behind in human beings at least a sense of unease. Against stupidity, we are defenseless. Neither protests nor the use of force accomplish anything here. Reasons fall on deaf ears. Facts that contradict one's judgment simply need not be believed. In such moments, the stupid person even becomes critical. And when facts are irrefutable, they are just pushed aside as inconsequential and incidental. In all this, the stupid person, in contrast to the malicious one, is utterly self-satisfied, and being easily irritated becomes dangerous by going on the attack. For that reason, greater caution is called for than with a malicious one. Never again will we try to persuade the stupid person with reasons, for it is senseless and dangerous. If we want to know how to get the better of stupidity, we must seek to understand its nature. This much is certain, that it is in essence not an intellectual defect, but a human one. There are human beings who are of remarkable agile intellect, yet stupid, and others who are intellectually quite dull, yet anything but stupid. We discover this to our surprise in particular situations. The impression one gains is not so much that stupidity is a congenital defect, but that, under certain circumstances, people are made stupid, or that they allow this to happen to them. We know further that people who have isolated themselves from others or who live in solitude manifest this defect less frequently than individuals or groups of people inclined or condemned to sociability. And so it would seem that stupidity is perhaps less a psychological than a sociological problem. It is, in particular, a form of the impact of historical circumstances on human beings, a psychological concomitant of certain external conditions. Upon closer observation, it becomes apparent that every strong upsurge of power in the public sphere, be it of a political or of a religious nature, infects a large part of humankind with stupidity. It would even seem that this is virtually a sociological, psychological law. The power of the one needs the stupidity of the other. The process at work here is not that particular human capacities, for instance, the intellect, suddenly atrophy or fail. Instead, it seems that under the overwhelming impact of rising power, humans are deprived of their inner independence and more or less consciously give up establishing an autonomous position toward the emerging circumstances. Sound familiar? The fact that the stupid person is often stubborn must not blind us to the fact that he is not independent. In conversation with him, one virtually feels that one is dealing not at all with a person, but with slogans, catchwords, and the like that have taken possession of him. He is under a spell, blinded, misused, and abused in his very being. Having thus become a mindless tool, the stupid person will also be capable of any evil that at the time incapable of seeing that it is evil. This is where the danger of diabolical use or misuse lurks, for it is this that can once and for all destroy human beings. Yet, at this very point, it becomes quite clear that only an act of liberation, not instruction, can overcome stupidity. Here we must come to terms with the fact that in most cases, a genuine internal liberation becomes possible only when external liberation has preceded it. Until then, we must abandon all attempts to convince the stupid person. This state of affairs explains why, in such circumstances, our attempts to know what the people really think are in vain, and why, under these circumstances, this question is so irrelevant for the person who is thinking and acting responsibly. The word of the Bible, that the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom, declares that the internal liberation of human beings to live the responsible life before God is the only genuine way to overcome stupidity. But these thoughts about stupidity also offer consolation in that they utterly forbid us to consider the majority of people to be stupid in every circumstance. It really will depend on whether those in power expect more from people's stupidity than from their inner independence and wisdom. You know, when we apply these words from Dietrich Bonhoeffer to our life, we can see they coincide with the following proverb. Let a man meet a she-bear robbed of her cubs rather than a fool in his folly. Proverbs 17:12. Foolishness, after all, is stupidity. When a person acts foolishly out of a deluded mindset, that what they are doing is correct, the results can be catastrophic. Their actions can reap all sorts of destruction upon those around them, including themselves. Stupidity is reflected in politicians and elites who are convinced global warming or global climate change is a threat to mankind, and will go to huge measures to prevent this from happening. Some of those measures are as follows: restricting water usage through the banning of well digging, restricting rainwater collection, tearing down dams, refusing to build small-scale nuclear plants, shutting down coal-fired electricity generating plants and replacing them with solar and wind power that produce a fraction of the electricity at a much higher cost to the ratepayers. And yes, that's why your energy bill goes up every year. It's to offset the stupidity, that is, the stupidity of your leaders. Lest we blame politicians, we must take blame upon ourselves for voting these fools into office. They may have pushed for mask wearing, social distancing, business closures, and jabbing yourself with a dangerous cocktail of unproven gene therapy, but it was the people who dutifully went along with their mandates and proclamations, much like the German people did when their leaders in proclamations said what they said, which ended badly for all concerned. It's not by discernment, it's not by wisdom, it's not by empirical evidence that we wage war upon each other and bring about our own self-destruction. Nope, it's stupidity and deception. As I stated earlier, stupidity is more destructive than the evil people who plan and oversee the crimes against humanity. For every evil person at the top, there are hundreds of thousands, even millions of people who trust them and their media partners and go along with what they are told to do. For every tyrant, there are a million stupid people who support and enforce their dictates. The wicked knows full well he is doing evil, while the fool does what is evil, thinking he is doing what is right. A tyrant has no power unless enough stupid people are willing to support him and do his bidding. We are warned time and time again throughout history that it's the masses who can turn into mindless mobs who end up destroying themselves and the world around them. We see this taking place right now with the rise of gender identity movement that is destroying millions of people emotionally, physically, and spiritually. The road to destruction is littered with mindless people following evil mandates and the promotion of vile acts and doctrines of demons under the guise of concern for people's emotional welfare. Our job is to avoid fools and stay away from stupid people. We are not to go along with dangerous mandates and pressures to conform to what is unwise and even dangerous. We should treat stupid people as Jesus taught his followers to do. He stated, "Do not give dogs what is holy. Do not throw your pearls before swine, lest they trample them underfoot and turn to attack you." Matthew 7:6. In other words, those who don't wish to hear truth and wish to harm you for telling them the truth should be avoided after your first attempt. We must allow people to suffer from their stupid choices. It's not our job to play savior in their lives. Only Jesus can do that. If people have a death wish and they don't want to have you intercede for them, then step aside and let them suffer their choices. Our job is to protect ourselves as best as possible from the slings and arrows of stupid people. For some ways to do this, I suggest you buy a copy of my book, Breaking the Deception Code, A True Seeker's Guide to Discernment, where I lay out for you the how-tos to counter and resist the liars and stupidity we often find ourselves surrounded by. And let's be honest, I have been a stupid person many a time. When I was ignorant and I followed stupid things because I thought it was right, I was stupid. But as I mature and as I seek discernment, my eyes have been opened and I'm not following such stupid things anymore. Thank God, anybody can turn away from their stupidity if they seek God first, seek for wisdom, and seek for discernment. Again, to plug my book, buy it. Breaking the Deception Code, A True Seeker's Guide to Discernment, will help you break the stupid mindset that we've all been programmed to have since childhood. In closing, if you like what I'm doing, please subscribe to this channel. Make sure to visit me at www.stevejohan.com and sign up for my free newsletter. Check out the resources I have to offer. And if you find value in what I'm doing and want to support me, you can send me money to Steve Johan, 16825 48th Avenue West, Suite 313 Linwood, Washington, 98037. Until next time, this is Steve Johann saying, be the lion, not the prey.